I gotten to the point where I could pretty much just like throw whatever flour is left over on the scale and then calculate it backwards to how much water and just make it out of whatever's left in the cabinet. Anything that's powder, really. I mean, it's 2024, y'all. Hello, everybody, and welcome to my study. My name is Jason from JTV Life, and today I'll be showing you either a video where you're gonna say, yeah, duh, I already knew that, or you're gonna say, wow, I never knew that, that blew my mind. Now I know how to make pizza. Let's get to it. In today's video, we're gonna be talking about how to formulate your own pizza dough recipes. If you're new to this, you probably really don't understand what they're talking about, the percentages and all that. And I'm gonna teach you a way to make it pretty much dummy proof to where you can just draw a little T and make the amount of dough you want for the amount of pizzas you want and have it come out perfect every time. Let's do it. One of the things that I think makes pizza such a gentleman's sport is there is no magical fishing spot. There's no magical golf ball. There's nothing that's really gonna get you to the dance besides experimentation. So you can go over the web and scurry around to see what size pizza dough balls for what style pizza and what size diameter. But it all comes down to experimentation. So in this particular example, I'm gonna be talking about making Neapolitan pizza doughs for a typical pizza oven, which is 11 to 13 inches. So we're gonna be making a 10 to 12 inch pie. And for that, for beginners, I would like to say start between 250 and 325 grams per dough. So that way you get a little bit extra. You don't run the risk of stretching it out too thin in the middle. And you'll have a nice crust for dipping in sauce. So we're gonna start off with a 300 gram ball of dough recipe. Come on around here over my shoulder so I can show you the math. It's simple. All you're gonna need to figure this out is a pen, a paper, and a phone. Or if you're a boomer, go grab your calculator. Just some real simple math. Bet you half of you boomers could probably long divide it out, but I'm a millennial, so. We're gonna do a 325 gram ball of dough. We're gonna do 3 of them, right? So 325 times 3, 975. That's gonna be our total amount of dough that we're making, right? And then I draw a T. And I put an F for flour and a W for water. Because everything in baking is based off from percentages, and it's always assumed that the flour is 100%. Now your water, that's what is gonna affect your hydration or moisture content level or rehydration amount. And that's the amount that's gonna change. And every style kind of has a different amount. Neapolitan's a little bit on the drier side, where New York pie is a little bit more wet, and something like a Chicago or something like that, it's like super wet. You can't even touch it. So we need to figure out the ratio of flour to water and what those amounts are so we can add them up to get 975 to cut it into 3 325 ounce dough balls. I hope you guys are still with me. So for this recipe, we'll go with 60% hydration. So 100 plus 60 is what? It's 160. I call these like my pizza points, you know? So, okay, so we got 160 points on the clock, right? Well, we know that we need 197, or excuse me, we know we need 975 total. So we take that total and I divide it by 160. And I get 6.099, all right? And I'm just gonna round that up to 6.1. And you're like, cool, Jason, well, what do I do with that? Well, I take my 6.1, right? And I multiply it times 100. Keep it 100, dog. Boom, 610. Now I take my 6.1, multiply it times 60, 366. All right, so I basically just came up with my recipe. It's gonna be 610 grams of flour, 366 grams of water. Take 366, divide it by 610, boom, 60%. It's so freaking easy. And now that we know our other amounts, say we wanna add some salt, because Neapolitan, you would put a little bit of salt in there, and then that's about it, and some yeast. So say we're gonna do 2% yeast, and we're gonna do 1% salt. Well, these numbers are gonna be based off from the 100, right? So we already know that we got our 6.1 per percent. So we're going to be putting in 6.1 grams of salt. And we're going to be putting in 12.2 grams of yeast. All right. Now this yeast number is kind of high. I'm probably actually going to do like 0.5%. And we'll get into that. But this is just to kind of show you if you were doing some other recipes. But there you go, guys. I really hope you all learned something today about pizza and sort of how bacon recipes work. And it gave you a little bit more freedom in the kitchen. You know, I got to the point where I could pretty much just like throw whatever flour is left over on the scale and then calculate it backwards to how much water and just make it out of whatever's left in the cabinet. Anything that's powder, really. I mean, it's 2024, y'all. But thank you so much for watching. If you're new, or you've come back, a lot of y'all come back and watch but just don't subscribe. I would really appreciate that. It helps me out and it kind of frees up the funds, which helps me free up the time to kind of think of stuff and have the time to put together and send it on out to y'all. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.